Hello, and welcome back to Beetle and Board Games. Today, I want to talk to you about two different things other than how hot it is in this room right now. The first one is, where is Beetle and Board Games going to go from here? What's the direction that this channel is going to take? And a really good example of that was in my last video. If you haven't seen that, link is up there. But basically, there were 5 photography tips that really helped me improve my own photography, which I wanted to share with all of you so we can all get better together as a community. Today, there's no fancy editing or anything, just a casual conversation between me and you. So one of my main goals when I started this channel, hence the name Beetle and Board Games, was to be able to bridge the gap between the cinematography, videography, photography world, and the board game world, two of my biggest passions. And I've always done the board game side, even though those are done in a cinematic way. I haven't really touched on the photography and cinematography side. And most of you are probably here for all the board games, and don't get me wrong, that's all. It's gonna stay. It's gonna get even better. Trust me, I've got a lot of really cool ideas. But oh my god, I'm so sweaty right now, Jesus. But here and there, I'm gonna sprinkle in some photography tips and some behind the scenes, a bunch of other photography, cinematography related stuff. I hope you'll also still enjoy. Being able to combine both of these things is a big plus for me, and then hopefully it'll be fun for you still as well. There are some secret things that I'm working on. If you've been following my Instagram, you probably have a good hint of what's to come already, and that will be launched on my website very, very soon. Other than that, we have more episodes of the podcast coming. I still have, let me show you. Still have 2 more prints left. The first one is Hatred from Cerebria. It's a nice metallic print, signed. And the second one that I've been playtesting around is Spears of the Forest. So this is my very, very first picture that I posted. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the first one. Okay, one of the first ones that I posted on Instagram. So those are coming soon. I pretty much just announced my secret. Prints in different sizes are coming very soon. If you'd like a specific size, a large, if you want something bigger than this, okay. For scale, this is 16 by 24, so I don't know, how do you scale something like this? It's as big as, it'll cover this whole entire frame. Follow me on Instagram if you want to be updated and see when those will be released in a big giveaway coming up very, very soon. Second secret, not so secret thing that I've been working on is actually right there. It's been in the new studio the whole entire time, so that we'll talk about when we get everything. And that, all that sitting there, will be coming soon. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. That would be the direction that Beetle and Board Games is heading towards this year. And the other thing I want to talk about was, since today is Sunday, Cinematic Sunday. Where is Cinematic Sunday? Now, if you don't already know, Cinematic Sunday is when I take one of the shrink wrap board games right behind you, and then do a quick 1-minute unboxing of the board game, B-roll style. Well, technically it's not really B-roll, it's more like A-roll since the whole video is that, but you get the point. It's a cinematic sequence. But I've had a lot of really fun and engaging questions about the process behind how I cover board games. So I thought it'd be fun to take you guys along on a, I don't know, 7-10 part series. Who knows how many parts it's gonna be. But it's basically, I wanted to start a brand new board game fresh from the start, straight from the idea brainstorming process, and then I'll take you on the shoot with me, see how I compose different shots. And my favorite part, obviously, is filming the B-roll itself, getting ideas and inspiration for that, covering the tutorial. Maybe if you want to see the editing process, let me know. I can do that too. And then every Sunday, I'll also announce what I'm going to be covering the following week. So within that week time frame, feel free to let me know what you want me to cover on next week's topic. If you have something specific that you want to see or a couple of questions that you want answered, and maybe I can do that in the video that, you know, releases every Sunday. And I don't know, I think it'd be fun. And yeah, that's it. So let's get started by announcing what game I'm going to be covering for the next several weeks. And that game is Lords of Hellas. So personally, I could not wait to get this game. This is my most anticipated game of the year, 2018, 2019. There's a overlap between those two. It was the funnest campaign I ever had on Kickstarter. Every time they would release a brand new update, I would be able to just drop everything and just read it off my phone. It was insane. It was like watching a Netflix show. Yeah, when their Kickstarter updates was like the equivalent for me. I couldn't wait. So right behind me, I have a giant whiteboard. What I'm gonna do is just write out the ideas that I have planned for this game, and then we'll see how these translate visually after we talk about it. So when I start a brand new board game, the very first thing that comes to me is the song, the music choice. I talked a little bit about that on my blog, but basically I use Epidemic Sound because it makes it really, really easy to just pick a song and then put in your videos and you don't have to worry about YouTube or Instagram taking it down since you pay for a creative license. But beside the point is I use Epidemic Sound and I search for things that I can find a really good beat to. And under that category is usually epic. Because if you think about it, the song itself may be catchy and good to you, but then if you can't edit to the beat, then it's really hard to manage as you edit. So first thing I do is find a song. And before I explain it real quick, I just want you to think about, why do you think I chose that song? Like what about that song was so appealing for this specific game? So Lords of Hellas, you can tell from like the box art alone, right? So here we have a picture of Zeus, clearly, but he has a modern futuristic feel to it, right? So you have all the Greek gods on here. So the biggest takeaway point about the theme of Lords of Hellas is it's about kind of warfare between Greek gods, and they have been futuristically altered, right? So Zeus right here doesn't have his classic, I don't know if he had ever had armor, but usually he's depicted as like having a robe. But then here he has a bunch of like modernized, futuristic armor, right? Which leads to why I chose that song in Epidemic Sound, because it 300 Spartans, Lord of the Rings feel to it, right? But right before it goes to an epic battle, that's where it starts off. But then it switches a little bit too techno for me. I'm not the biggest fan of techno, sorry. I think it works because it introduces a classic feel for the game and then brings in a modern touch to it, which is the same exact thing that I'm thinking about Lords of Hellas. So what I'm thinking for the game itself is maybe we can start with softer colors in the edit, or in the lighting itself, we'd have dampening, like a dampener. The light would be much more damp, much more dark or dreary in the beginning until the beat drops, and then we'll just make it super vibrant, have the scenes cut really, really hard. And then from there, what I do is I go through all the components and then see, okay, where can I stage these? What environments can I put these in? So obviously the miniatures are the easiest things to take pictures of because naturally they just look good. They look amazing, especially, oh my God, especially Lords of Hellas miniatures. These are like top-notch, top quality. They're so good. On top of that, they have the sun drop effect, which makes them that much better, okay? But what's harder is to also incorporate other parts of the game because people want to see it, right? Because the other parts of the game are important, right? You want to show off the gameplay in a subtle manner. But it's not just about miniatures for a game, right? You can have the best miniatures, best components, best looking components in the world, but if it doesn't have good gameplay, then there's no point of playing the game, right? So the same applies when you're taking pictures and when you're taking videos of a board game. You want to think about everything, not just what's easy. Honestly though, Lords of Hellas I think might be easier than expected because just everything looks so good by itself. So the first thing I'm looking at are the character boards. Here we have, Achilles and Helen and a couple others, and they also have their miniature on the side along with a full set of artwork on the back of these cards. So already what I'm picturing is for Heracles, a very, very foggy area, maybe like if we can find some kind of swamp area, or maybe we can mimic that with some smoke, maybe like a smoke bomb, or like a smoke bomb would be a little too intense, maybe a humidifier. And then green, the coloring green can also match with these. So what I'm thinking for Heracles is definitely using them, is definitely, oh, it'd be cool? This is called on camera as I have a idea is, so for Heracles, it'd be really cool is if he's emerging out of the fog. Similar to the hatred picture, I'll put the same type of red light for Heracles. It would look really cool. And then also for Helen has this cape. She has like an angelic feel to it. Looks like they're kind of like wings and so forth. But I think hers would be really nice if there was a reflection across the pool, because you see here along the bottom it has like this blue purple haze. That would look really nice to mirror this character card on top of her miniature right there. Hermes, Athena, and Zeus, and each of them is depicted with with a stat tier depending on which part of the monument that you build. So it would look really cool if I can somehow have them levitating, have each piece of the monument levitating somewhere, and then have this card underneath it to show like, oh look, these are the pieces for the statues. That would look really nice. And then we have all the monsters like Cerberus, the Chimera. We have, oh, the Minotaur. The Minotaur would be really cool in the maze, just like, I forget, but is it the Odyssey or, I know it was a mythical tale, at least with the Minotaur when they're stuck in the maze. So it would look really cool if we incorporate that into one of the pictures. It would look really nice if you are trying to, you know, in a lot of games, you're kind of picking out which team you want to be in. So these could alone be 4 different pictures where I think it would be really nice all in one picture to show like, oh, what team are you? And then we also have a bunch of the board game pieces, like little hexagons, and I'm thinking these are stat tiers, so I don't want to just throw these since I don't fully know what they do yet. I don't want to just like throw them in a picture, but from what I'm guessing is that some of these arrows correspond to like the tier level on the character cards, as shown here, right? So we can definitely incorporate those into the character boards when we're taking pictures of the character boards themselves. That way the components are not just sitting by themselves. So card pictures are really hard because they're so easy to make stale because again, they're just cards, right? So I don't like to just toss them in a way. I feel like it's best to do card pictures when you are grouping them up with something else. Like for example, this first I'm looking at is Cerberus. So Cerberus would look really nice with his own miniature. Maybe his own miniature would be like in the background. Oh, I think it'd be cool if his miniature was in the background and it has a dark red feel to it. Maybe like there's flames or fire in the background. And then the card is the center of focus and you kind of see the shadow of Cerberus in the background, his miniature along with the smoke and the fire. That would look really nice. And then across every board game, you're almost always gonna have pieces that are not synonymous, but like ubiquitous, kind of like standardized pieces, right? These are just general pieces that are almost in every single board game. For example, for these, they have like these little red cubes. That usually are markers in other games. I don't know what they are specifically for Lords of Hellas just yet, but things like these I kind of skip because you know it's a good balance between the two, right? You want to highlight the best components, but you don't want to show the components that are redundant across the game. For example, these would be redundant. Right? Hydra would look really cool if it was coming out of the water. It would also look really nice for a B-roll sequence if I managed to get a waterproof camera somewhere. But if hydras I normally imagine like are coming from the sea, it would look really nice if you have like emerging from the water and maybe like a sunset in the background. Or not a sunset. Sunset makes it look, actually depends on the color of the sunset. If sunset is like a blood red, then yeah, it would look really drastic and look really dramatic. I love it. So the blue miniatures have a classic warrior look to it. These would look really nice against like metal. So back on the table with the expansions, and the first one I'm looking at is the Apollo expansion, the Lord of the Sun expansion. This is definitely going to be an easy one. Sunrise. This definitely needs an epic sunrise picture, maybe with fire incorporated somehow. If you don't know, I like to incorporate almost all the elements throughout my videos and photos. Fire, water, earth, air is always involved somehow. Video and board games, you'll see all elements depicted in the camera, hence the logo. So that was the reason behind the logo. Fun fact. So the Alice expansion. So this one, you have the mini. I took one just as a demo on Instagram where Alice was holding the box itself. Oh, Alice was really nice on top of like a giant hill, or like it has some kind of mountain theme to it. Kind of looks like he's above the world. So Alice here, I know he's kind of holding up like a giant slab of earth here, but it looked really nice if we can somehow incorporate that maybe the same way as the artwork is depicted here. So if like there's sand or dirt kind of crumbling off the sides of the giant piece of, maybe if I can get like a fake terrain of Alice and then put him on like a mountainside. Like if there was like a patch of moss or grass and then a bunch of things on top of like little pebbles, kind of like a terrarium, right? If he's holding like a terrarium and then drip like, not drip, but like sprinkle sand and like dirt on the side, I think that would look really cool. So that's Alice. The City of Steel expansion, naturally, just from the word itself, so texture is going to play a big role into the City of Steel expansion. Definitely going to lay it around some maybe rustic and very, very bright, shiny silver metal. That'll look really cool. And the last expansion is the Warlord expansion. So for that one, Kronos, from what I remember, I think he was involved with time. But either way, Kronos in the game itself has a giant Sith. And he's a ginormous miniature. I actually took a picture, but he would look really, really awesome if I can somehow incorporate more than just fire. If like there was, you know, you barbecue or you do like a fire pit, and then the fire gets really, really low and you see that glow in the center. If I can somehow incorporate that into the picture, I think that will look epic. So that is the new day one or part one, which is the idea phase. Now you get to see what the ideas are. Oh, let me take you actually to the whiteboard. So here is the whiteboard with the overview of all of the types of pictures and video that is going to come as we go. Cerberus, right? So this one is where we talked about we have the mini in the background, maybe as like a shadow, and then a card. The card of Cerberus itself is going to be in the foreground. Zeus as a thunderstorm. Somehow, if you can incorporate that, that would look nice. But either way, I want to incorporate some form of electricity, or maybe I'll even use these fairy lights right here to mimic that. The blue hoplites, this one will look cool against metal. So Hydra, I'm super excited about. If we can somehow get a picture of it surfacing from water, that would look really nice. Atlas, again, holding the terrarium. A terrarium like moss, and then sprinkling like dirt from the sides. We have the City of Steel expansion. This one would look nice again against metal textures overall. Apollo, we need to have a sunrise for that one, or sunset, or blue hour to kind of contrast the miniature itself. Because he's kind of like, I think he's holding a sphere for sure in his hand. And then the Warlords expansion to finish off Kronos. Okay, we have, I don't know why I put Kronos, I'm missing S there. But Kronos, he definitely would look nice against like, not a brand new fire, but a fire that has been lit over time. So you have that kind of glowy feel to the camp. The next week, I'm gonna take you on the shoot itself. I'm gonna find some places, put these words into action, and then see what comes out. So if you're still listening, thanks for sticking around. And I'll see you in the next one.